This is my second video addressing some of the criticism that Anthony Joshua gets, and this one's dealing with, does Anthony Joshua have stamina problems? Specifically, does Anthony Joshua show signs of having stamina problems in the Dillian Whyte fight? A lot of people, well, not a lot of people, but some people have pointed out that Anthony Joshua looked like he was blowing hard, or he was fatigued, or he had his mouth open and he was looking exhausted during that fight. One of the commentators in the third or fourth round even commented that Anthony Joshua looks fatigued or he's blowing hard now. Now, if you watch that fight, I couldn't see that at all. I couldn't see it going right through that fight. I didn't look like Anthony Joshua was having stamina problems. It didn't look like he was blowing hard to me. It clearly did for Dillian Whyte though. Into the end of the fourth round, you could tell Dillian Whyte wasn't as aggressive, he wasn't defending himself as well, and he was breathing hard, you could see it visibly, and it looked like he had stamina problems. So you're looking at two people, one of them with stamina problems and one of them without, and you can see it quite clearly there. If Anthony Joshua had stamina problems, he'd look just the way Dillian Whyte did. He'd lower his output, he wouldn't defend himself as well, and he'd be visibly blowing hard. So how can I prove my point? Now, the one way you can prove a point is, did his punch rate decrease as the fight went on? And in Britain, they do not publish punch stats, and they don't have it throughout the fight like they do in America. So what I've had to do is I've had to actually visibly count the punches that Anthony Joshua threw throughout the Dillian Whyte fight, just to prove my point that he didn't show any signs of having stamina problems through that fight. So I'll just go over it with you. In the first round, he threw 84 punches. The reason he threw so many punches, obviously, in the first round was because Dillian Whyte was visibly wobbled, and it looked like he could have knocked him out and taken him out in the first round. So he threw 84 punches in the first round. In the second round, it decreases to 60. In the third, it decreases to 57. But then in the fourth, it increases again to 63, decreases again to the lowest amount through the fight in the fifth round to 48. Then it increases dramatically again in the sixth to 56 punches, and very high again in the seventh, because the seventh round only went less than halfway through, 33 punches. Now that's quite a high work rate, and it's not showing any signs of his work rate decreasing throughout the fight. That's a total of 401 punches through the fight, and if you divide it by 6.5, which is how many rounds the fight went, it works out at 61 punches, averaging a round. Now, to give you an idea of how high that work rate is, because he's thrown a lot of punches, when Wladimir Klitschko fought David Haye, Wladimir Klitschko averaged at throwing 45 punches a round, and Lennox Lewis, when he fought Mike Tyson, he averaged at 41 punches a round. So that's a very high work rate from Anthony Joshua. And just like I say, the numbers prove that his work rate wasn't decreasing, and he was actually fighting at a very high level, and he wasn't getting exhausted, and he didn't look exhausted throughout that fight like a lot of people claim. And the punch stats back what I'm saying up. And another thing I want to add is, a lot of commentators, when they used to watch Vitaly Klitschko, when he first started fighting, they always said, oh, Vitaly Klitschko, he's 6'7", 250 pounds. He's the type of guy that's going to get exhausted later in the rounds. And they kept saying this, and the commentators kept commenting on, oh, he's got his mouth open in the second round, he looks exhausted, he's going to eventually tire out. Until it took them years for him to figure out, Vitaly Klitschko just fights with his mouth open to draw air. He doesn't get fatigued, his work rate doesn't decrease. So just by going by his mouth being open does not show that you are fatigued. And what I'll say as well is, Anthony Joshua didn't have his mouth open and blow air in like Vitaly Klitschko was either. So just to finish off, just to conclude it, the punch stats back up what I'm saying. Anthony Joshua didn't look tired through that fight. Am I saying Anthony Joshua will definitely not get tired in the 10th, 11th, 12th round of a fight? No, I can't prove that by just them punches. I can't say that he's not going to get fatigued at the end of the fight. What I'm just trying to say is, Anthony Joshua did not show any signs of having a stamina problem in the Dillian Whyte fight. And he fought at a very high work rate.